Good morning, everybody. This is Diggs. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest, and today we're going to be talking about Joker. Specifically, we're going to be taking a look at other dark units which are coming out in the future alongside him. He's going to be a unit that's going to have kind of a delayed performance, kind of similar to how Celeste isn't going to function truly at her strongest capacity without Astrius. I feel like Joker isn't going to fully be at his best potential when he releases. So let's go ahead, talk about his kit, talk about the other units that he's waiting for, and dig in. So I think lots of people looking at Joker's kit will underestimate him. I think they're going to undervalue him. I think they are going to pass him up for potentially Violet, or maybe they're just saving for Astrius next week and they're burned out from Final Fantasy VI. That's absolutely a possibility. But there's some really good reasons to consider grabbing Joker. Dark is an element that is going to be getting significantly stronger as we go through the next couple of months, and we already have a buff to Dark to help counter light evasion. So as we're seeing Dark become more and more powerful, you know, the fact that we have the Maidens of the Rose VC, which will give party-wide, luck up, and it'll also give party-wide dexterity up, that's going to start helping the case, right? This is a GL exclusive VC. This VC is going to help contribute to Dark units slowly being able to counter light evasion, and I think it's going to significantly even the playing field, particularly when we have other Dark units coming out, like Little Leela, right? The 100 cost Little Leela, and of course we have Dark Fina coming as well. So not only do we have the two of them coming, we also have Anima coming in the near future, right? Which is going to give slash resistance penetration, single hit resistance. And of course, we have Persona's own Vision card, which, just to point out, gives accuracy 15. It's going to give Joker himself attack 10%, and it'll give him a global exclusive buff of Dark attack up. The VC gives agility 4, dexterity 20 on it. Party-wide accuracy 13, HP 25%. Like, there is a variety of things coming that are going to make Joker very powerful or synergize with other Dark units to make a very powerful Dark composition in the future. The thing with Joker is you're going to have to play the long game. And if you're someone who, wants to build a composition and kind of build on the Dark element, which I think you can never go wrong building Dark, particularly for PvE, and even now Black Rose Helena is somewhat relevant, right? This is going to be one of those units that you might look back on, months from now and be like, I really wish I pulled Joker. I need that third Dark unit in my composition. And, now I'm putting in Dwayne or I'm putting in Black Rose Helena when I really wish that I had Joker. So what's unique about Joker's kit? Let's get into it and talk specifics. His TMR is pretty interesting. It has accuracy 12 on it. It's going to give AoE resistance 15, missile attack 15, slash attack 15. All around really good. I would say this is one of the better TMRs that has come out recently, particularly with area of effect resistance up on it. I don't know if we're going to be using this. I think we could see some use with the accuracy up on it, but I don't think it's going to be as kind of defining as, for example, Lucio's TMR has been, right? His main jobs, he's going to come in as the Joker. He'll have Sub Nightblade and Sub Gunner. He does not get the 3-hit attack from Sub Nightblade. So if you were counting on that, unfortunately, it will not be happening. He does get Maiming Slash, which is pretty cool for the healing down. But honestly, you might be just subbing him Gunner a lot of the time. His master ability is going to do, of course, the standard Dark buffs, and it's going to give decrease AP consumption 15 for self and increase AoE resistance 5. So he'll get a little bit of survivability there. A lot of people like to reference Dex and Luck because they think that, looking at a unit's Dex and Luck, that's going to give you kind of an indication of their accuracy and their capability to counter evasion. His dexterity is actually right next to Starlight Elena, so he's going to be 44th on the board. And his luck is actually going to be 18th on the board, so he's going to be right next to, right next to Tifa. So he's going to literally have the same amount of luck as Tifa. So pretty good all around, right? I believe he's right next to Shadow Lynx as well. So I don't think you're going to be building him for evasion, but you know, he might, if you're taking him into PvE content, be a little bit evasive. Taking a look at his stats not the most remarkable. 15% slash resistance, 5% weak to pierce, 15% striking resistance, and then 5% to missile and magic. I would have liked to see a little bit more magic resistance. I feel like after Esther came out last week, like Esther's resistances are so nuts to come in and just see like, yeah, he has 15% slash resistance, like that's it, right? Like, and like moderate amount of resistances in the other categories. I feel like it just doesn't do it for me. Like I want more. I feel like this is kind of part of the element that's like he's underwhelming, right? Like we have Astrius coming out. We have just had Esther come out, right? Like it's really easy to undersell and undervalue him. So let's move on to his kit. And I'm really interested if you guys are planning on pulling, because I know my chat was really like, I got no viz, I'm gonna skip them, and I really think people are going to regret it. His upgraded passive ability, Take Your Heart, agility 12% for self, defense penetration 40, AoE resistance 15. So things to keep in mind here, he has a native 20 AoE resistance. With his TMR buff, if you are running his TMR, that's 35 AoE resistance, which is pretty powerful. Another important note here is he does have access to Secret of the Nightblade. Now that is going to give attack 30%, accuracy 25, which is going to be very good universally. However, you may be in a world where you want to set, you know, potentially the range 1 missile attack 12 buff, the range 2 buff. Like you may be one of those people who's going to utilize his missile attack because he is a hybrid unit in the sense that kind of like all the Persona units are. Maybe not Violet. I'll have to check on Violet, but he has access to both him and Queen have two different attack types. He has access to missile and slash. And so you may have to decide, you know, what you want to build him as. His counters, I honestly think you'll probably be setting counter shot. He has kind of an upgraded version of like 20% chance to mitigate damage by 30%. I honestly think counter shot might be better. However, with counter shot, you run the problem of always shooting one of your own units in the back if your opponent's attacking from range. So that could be a problem. You know, in that case, you would just set this damage mitigation. I mean, it feels like there's nothing really good to set here. You know, maybe if he had reflex, it would be amazing, but he doesn't. Taking a look at his primary kit, very interesting. Movement in his primary attack. So his attack's going to be very similar to like Noctis's Warp Strike, where it's 121% modifier, restores CT for self, 6 CAS, 14 AP, and it moves him to the unit panel. You know, he gets a self buff for 40% attack and then decreases chance of being targeted. You know, that could be pretty good. You're really going to have to probably think about what buffs you want him to use, because the other buff he has, think about surviving, reduces the damage taken 35% for 3 turns to self, grants protect to allies and to himself. And like, this is one of those things. This is literally one of those things right here where you could look at like Esther, who released last week, and Esther's like damage reducing ability, I believe, is 50%, right? And it gives AoE resistance to party members. So to like see this and be like, okay, it's pretty good, right? And like Esther still had something, you know, almost the same or identical. So like there's just, it's this world where you could completely undersell him. And I think remembering that he's going to be in like dark element compositions, that he's going to be with other dark units in the future who are going to be like little Leela, a little bit brawlery, right? A little bit survivory, and think about how this is going to synergize with that. Then you can really start thinking like, okay, I could see this being, you know, pretty intimidating, right? I could see like a dark brawler composition coming to kill me. He has access to lightning speed, which is a very high range AoE, or very high AoE attack, which decreases attack and magic, which is great. I feel like anytime you have an attack that is this wide in range, no matter what job they're on, it's always viable. Like Gravisphere from Prompto, right? Prompto also probably, you know, something to talk about in terms of the synergy between Prompto and Joker. Is also one of those things to touch on. You may be seeing Prompto showing up a little bit more. His one-shot kill decreases defense by 30, so this is going to be kind of his party synergy capability. So defense down 30, reduces counter 100. Has a range height of 1, has really high range, 200% modifier. And then interestingly enough, his job level 25 ability, right? He has missile attacks and he has slash attacks. His job level 25 is a typeless attack. So it's a 200% modifier, typeless, breaks physical barrier for target. So if you're running against a unit that has missile resistance or slash resistance, right? Maybe you just need to run this typeless attack. Like, Joker has the capability to bypass, you know, units that may be running those resistances. So very powerful there. In terms of sub jobs, it gets a little weird. I think, you know, well, let's look at his limit break first. Defense pen 30 on him, 100% hit. So of course, his limit break with the 100% hit and the defense penetration is of course going to be the anti-evasion build. You have to remember though, depending on how you build him, because we have Maidens of the Rose, which will be really good dex up and luck up, you may not be relying on this to kill your opponent. You may be relying on this to pop guts. You may be relying on this to pop re-raise, because he doesn't have any re-raise negation. He doesn't have any guts negation, right? So you may be relying on this for that. Back to sub jobs though. You know, he has status ailments in his Joker sub job, so he has access to confusion and sleep. I could see us running some of those. His sub Nightblade does have access to maiming slash, but nothing really remarkable in here. And his sub Gunner gives missile attack 38 range 1 for allies. Like, yes, depending on the map, I could see you running sub Gunner here. He has counsel for the critical hit rate up. He has double shot for the chaining. He has, you know, I don't even think he has arm shot at all in here. He has leg shot, and he also has blinding shot, but that's it. So overall, I would say you may be running him actually sub Joker for the confusion potentially. It's been a while since confusion has really been relevant. The last time I think confusion was relevant was with Agrius. I'm not 100% sure. I think it was Agrius, but you may see him subbing his own job just for those status ailments to give him an edge. Otherwise, I think you're probably going to see him sub Gunner here. He does have a pretty good buff with sub Nightblade, of course, so that's going to be the Pierce and missile resistance. I do think we're going to see Oberon's more right now because Esther did just come out, so that Pierce resistance could help you. Keep in mind, he does have an innate weakness to Pierce attacks, but I think overall, you know, his sub job isn't going to matter as much as what he has in his main kit. And, you know, his kit is incredibly kind of versatile. You know, 3 different types of attacks in his main build, and he's a very cool unit. I just think he's going to take time to get functioning. He's going to take, you know, 2 or 3 months when 100 cost Leela drops, when we get Dark Fina, right? It's gonna take time for these units to come out, make their way down, trickle into dark composition, and kind of power up dark a little bit. I think it'll take time for Joker to be relevant, and I'm curious to see if you guys agree with me. I think, you know, compared to where we're at on the JP timeline, right? JP did see some use out of Joker right away, but they didn't have Elena, right? So the fact that we have Elena, we're in almost this like completely different meta world, right? And even though Elena is not like fully the best unit in the game anymore, I would argue, you're still going to see light evasion everywhere right now. So anyway, everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you do want to support me, you can use my affiliate link, dig.gs/coins, or you can go to dig.gs/offer. And yeah, hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and I will catch you guys next time.